Have you ever wondered how the World Cup draw works? Well, we've put together this handy guide for you. 32 teams will join us in Russia, and they've been divided into 4 team pots, with each pot containing 8 of the qualified teams. The allocation of which team goes into which pot is based on ranking. So those teams ranked highest are in pot 1, and those with the lowest ranking are in pot 4. The only exception is Russia, who as hosts are automatically seeded for the draw and therefore in pot 1. We'll draw the pots one at a time, starting with pot 1 and ending with pot 4, with pot 1 being emptied in its entirety before we move on to pot 2, then pot 3, and finally pot 4. As teams are drawn, they will populate the groups alphabetically from Group A through to Group H. The teams in pot 1 will all occupy number 1 position in each group, from Group A through to Group H. So A1, then B1, then C1, and so on. As Russia are hosts, they'll automatically go into the first position in Group A. The rest of the teams are drawn out randomly. So let's start to build a draw. And don't forget, this is not the real thing. The teams in pots 2, 3 and 4 will be placed in one of the other positions in the group where they are drawn. Those positions are not predetermined. When a team is drawn in a group, a ball will be drawn to decide exactly their number in that group. No 2 teams from the same confederation can be placed in the same group, so some of the teams in pots 2, 3 and 4 may need to skip groups in order to ensure that everything works out geographically. The exception, of course, is Europe, which has 14 qualified teams, so each group shall contain at least 1 and at most 2 European teams. So let's say Switzerland are the first team drawn from pot 2. They would join Russia in Group A. If Colombia are the second team drawn out from pot 2, then they will join Group C, avoiding Group B where Brazil is already drawn. If Croatia are then drawn, they will join Brazil in Group B, because we always populate the groups alphabetically and there is no geographical clash. Let's take our example a little further. The first 2 pots have been drawn, and we are now starting to empty pot 3. The first team drawn is Egypt, who can join Russia and Switzerland in Group A. The next teams drawn are Costa Rica, followed by Iran, who can go alphabetically to Group B and C. If the next team drawn out is Iceland, then they cannot go to Group D because there is already the maximum number of 2 European teams in that group. So Iceland must join Belgium and Peru in Group E. Finally, we must ensure that we don't get stuck. Here, pot 4 is being emptied and the draw is coming to its conclusion. Nigeria, Morocco and Saudi Arabia are the teams left to be drawn. If Saudi Arabia is drawn next, then in theory they could go to Group F as there is no geographic clash. However, that would leave 2 African teams in pot 4 and 2 groups still to be filled, one of which already contains an African team. So in this case, Saudi Arabia would go to Group H, leaving Nigeria and Morocco to be drawn to Groups F and G. That completes our mock draw for the 2018 FIFA World Cup, providing you with the knowledge you need to follow the real thing, which takes place in Moscow on the 1st of December. For any further information on the draw, the tournament or any of our qualified teams, you can always visit FIFA.com. where of course you can also buy tickets for next summer's extravaganza. Thanks for watching and enjoy the draw.